Menards used to sell Milwaukee tools. At some point approximately 15 to 20 years ago, the relationship ended. The specific details of what happened have never been publicly documented by either party. What has been documented in trade forums, in industry discussions, in the accumulated knowledge of the professional tool community is that Menards placed demands on Milwaukee that Milwaukee found unacceptable, and that was the end of the commercial relationship. Milwaukee left Menards. Menards did not get Milwaukee back, and the store that today sells Masterforce boost impact drivers that outperform Milwaukee M18 on torque in independent testing got to that position specifically because the brand it once stocked for professional contractors decided it was better off not being there. That sentence surprises most people who shop at Menards today, because the current reality, Menards carries no Milwaukee, no DeWalt, no Makita, no Ryobi, feels like a permanent institutional fact rather than the outcome of specific commercial events. It is not a permanent fact. It is the compounded result of at least two separate disputes, each with a different mechanism, each producing the same outcome. Understanding how Menards lost Milwaukee through a direct commercial falling out, and how Menards lost DeWalt through a completely different mechanism that had nothing to do with Menards at all, explains why the tool aisle at a Menards looks the way it does today, and why the brand that now occupies that space exists specifically because those two exclusions happened. To understand the falling out, you have to understand what Menards was to Milwaukee before the split. Menards in the 1990s and early 2000s was a growing Midwest chain with enough purchasing scale to be a meaningful distribution partner for professional tool brands. Milwaukee was building its market position in the Midwest through every available channel. The two companies had a commercial relationship, Milwaukee tools on Menards shelves, Menards selling Milwaukee to its Midwest customer base. The relationship ended when Menards placed demands that Milwaukee found commercially unacceptable. What those demands were specifically has never been publicly confirmed. The most credible industry interpretation, based on Menards' consistent commercial posture across all supplier relationships, is that the demands involved pricing flexibility, MAP compliance, or warranty terms that conflicted with commitments Milwaukee had made to other channel partners. Menards has never honored MAP agreements. Milwaukee enforces MAP. At some point, those two positions produced an irreconcilable conflict. The relationship ended. What happened with DeWalt is a different story with the same ending. DeWalt did not have a direct falling out with Menards. The exclusion of DeWalt from Menards was not the result of Menards placing demands on DeWalt or DeWalt finding those demands unacceptable. It was the result of Home Depot placing demands on DeWalt. The mechanism, documented in trade forum discussions by industry observers over multiple years, is specific. Home Depot told DeWalt that if DeWalt sold its tools through Menards, Home Depot would remove DeWalt from its stores. At the time, and still today, Home Depot has dramatically more locations than Menards in every overlapping geography. Choosing between Home Depot and Menards as a distribution partner is not a close call for DeWalt from a revenue perspective. DeWalt chose Home Depot. Menards did not get DeWalt. The exclusion was not a dispute between Menards and DeWalt. It was a commercial threat from Home Depot to DeWalt, and DeWalt responded rationally to the revenue math. The scale of what Home Depot was protecting makes the threat credible in a way that a smaller retailer's equivalent threat never would have been. Home Depot at the time of the DeWalt exclusion was generating the majority of Stanley Black & Decker's North American retail tool revenue through its stores. Losing that relationship would have cost DeWalt far more than gaining Menards distribution could have recovered. Home Depot was not bluffing. DeWalt knew it was not bluffing. The specific math, more Home Depot locations, higher average transaction values, deeper professional contractor penetration in markets outside the Midwest, made the calculation straightforward. What makes it remarkable is that Home Depot used a manufacturer as the instrument of a competitor's exclusion rather than competing with Menards directly on the floor. The message was not sent to Menards. It was sent through DeWalt, and it worked. two exclusions, two completely different mechanisms. 1. Direct commercial falling out between Menards and Milwaukee over terms Menards would not accept. 1. Indirect exclusion of DeWalt driven by Home Depot's threat to pull a brand it could not afford to lose. Both produced the same result. The two most commercially significant professional cordless tool brands in American retail are not at Menards, and have not been for 15 to 20 years in Milwaukee's case, and longer in DeWalt's. The MAP system is the thread that connects both stories, even though it operated differently in each. With Milwaukee, MAP was the likely point of direct conflict. Menards will not honor any manufacturer's pricing floor, and Milwaukee enforces MAPI as a condition of authorized dealership. The conflict between those two positions was eventually irreconcilable. With DeWalt, MAP operated indirectly. Home Depot's threat to pull DeWalt was credible specifically because Home Depot is an authorized DeWalt dealer that honors MAP, and losing that anchor relationship for the sake of adding a Menards distribution channel that would price below MAP was not a trade-off DeWalt could accept. Here is where the story stops being about commercial disputes and starts being about what those disputes built. Menards without Milwaukee and DeWalt needed something to put in the professional cordless category. It could not use Ryobi. TTOI's Home Depot exclusive arrangement blocked that. It could not use Makita. Makita enforces MAP, and Menards will not comply. It could not use DeWalt. Home Depot's commercial architecture prevented it. What Menards had was its own buying power, its MAP-free pricing structure, and its 11% rebate system. What it needed was a manufacturer willing to build a 20-volt cordless platform to Menards specifications, with Menards owning the brand outright, outside any channel arrangement that a competitor could threaten. The manufacturer was Chervon, the same OEM that makes Ego outdoor power equipment. The brand was Masterforce. The 20-volt boost line that Chervon built for Menards now generates independent test results showing it outperforms Milwaukee M18 third and fourth generation impact drivers on overall score at Torque Test Channel. The brand that Milwaukee refused to accommodate, and that DeWalt's channel arrangements prevented from reaching Menards, has been replaced by a house brand that Menards owns outright, that no Milwaukee commercial threat can remove from its shelves, and that no Home Depot pressure campaign can exclude from its distribution. The exclusions that left Menards without the two most important professional tool brands in the market produced the only commercial response available to a private retailer with no debt and no quarterly earnings constraints. Build your own. The final detail is the one that most people who see a Masterforce tool on a Menards shelf have never thought about. That tool exists specifically because Milwaukee walked away from Menards and Home Depot locked DeWalt out. If either of those exclusions had not happened, if Menards had remained an authorized Milwaukee dealer, or if Home Depot had not threatened DeWalt, there would have been no commercial reason to commission Chervon to build a Menards exclusive 20-volt platform. The tool you can buy for $132.78 after the 11% rebate. The tool that independently outscored Milwaukee M18 in a dynamometer test exists because two separate commercial conflicts produce the same gap in one store's professional tool offering. Menards filled the gap with a brand it owns, and the gap has never fully closed. If this changed how you think about the brand on the shelf and the disputes that put it there, subscribe. The tools you find at any retailer are almost always the outcome of commercial relationships that started, failed, or were prevented years before you walked through the door.